Right. We've got Adrian and Nick, Chrissy. We've got quite a few guests. We've got Laura. We've got Jill. We've got the New York Warriors. We've got Tabitha. So a big hello to everybody, and a big 3 cheers for the New York Warriors in the chat room as well. So hip, hip, hooray, hip, hip, hooray, hip, hip, hooray. So with no further ado, I know that they have got, of course, some girls with passion, and I always like this phrase you guys in America say, "Are you kidding me?" And I am certain that we're going to hear that a few times tonight. So with no further ado, let's see who we've got on first. We have got area code 570. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sue. How are you?
Now, who am I getting here?
This is Barbara Stewart.
Hey, Barbara, how are you doing? I know you've been struggling trying to get in the chat room, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
I might be in the UK, but the little birds are good at giving me messages.
That's good. I just wanted to call and say hello and thank you for having us on your show, and thank you for doing this show. I appreciate it, as I'm sure all of the other warriors appreciate it. All we're trying to do is help the animals, basically, and make everyone aware of what's going on, particularly at the ACC, and just say thank you.
Barbara, tell everybody about the protest that you're obviously organising. I know you've been working very hard behind the scenes for that. And also, I know people will always want to know what they can do to help, even if they're, like us, in the UK.
I think that anyone can help just by spreading the word, making them aware of what's going on, and just giving support. We have a rally coming up on Saturday, September 21st, in front of the Animal Care and Control Center. That would be on 110th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue. And we have been holding protests there every month so far since we started our first one, with the exception of August. We want the ACC to know that the New York Warriors will not go away. We will not stop until we have reform. We are voters. We vote to put these people in office, and I would expect them to listen to their constituents and what they have to say. This is how we feel. The animals don't deserve what they get just because they're homeless. They don't deserve it. They just don't. It's not fair to them. It makes me want to cry every time I think about what happens to them. And this is one of the reasons why I started what I do, because I can't take it. And every time I look at the screen and I see this one's gone and that one is gone, it just brings me to tears. I'm sorry.
Hey, listen, listen, just get yourself together for a minute. Let me just say to everybody, right, New York Warriors work so hard behind the scenes, and I think everybody will agree with me. While Barbara gets herself together, we are all sick and tired of seeing these poor dogs and cats in these pictures. And it was like the other day, somebody said to me that 60 cats are being killed in one night. It's just not acceptable. There is no reason for this. And I've got to say, and I've got to say to everybody, the one rant I have really got to say to everybody is this: don't sit there just sharing these dogs and these cats. This has got to go further, right? And we have got some fantastic lasses here that are going to put a protest together. And trust me, if I had the money to get on a plane, I would come from the UK and I would stand right next to these girls any day of the week. If I got the money to get on a plane and come over, I would be stood right by them. I can promise you. So if I'm saying that, why the hell in New York are you guys not doing exactly the same thing? I want everybody who can to stand right next to these girls and shout as loud as you can, okay? Because it's no good sitting there saying, oh, it's so terrible, 60 cats got killed in one day.
Exactly.
Oh, this one died in the cage. Shut your mouth whinging about it and get up there and protest. It is no good continuing with this little bit of sharing. Oh, we've shared 2 posts, so that's enough for today. Well, it is not. This is when it's got to step up a gear. The end of the egos, the end of the crap that I keep seeing on Facebook, this is where we have to join forces and stand up for what we believe. We are the voice for the voiceless. We are advocates for the animals, and this crap has got to stop. This is when we all join forces and stand up and be counted. They will keep taking the mick out of us, all these political people, until as advocates stand together strong. And I've got to say a big hug to you, Barbara, because I know you're one of the very many that are literally sharing like mad and trying to make a difference and going out on the streets and literally getting out there. And, you know, it's like I say to everybody, though, we're all doing our part. You know, I do the shows, you're doing the protests, you know, people at crossroads, and I respect everybody. But for those that can get to the protest and don't, there is no excuse.
I agree with you, Sue. I just like to say 100% I agree with you. There are millions of people in New York City alone. We are in front of the ACC, in front of the Manhattan Animal Care and Control Center. Manhattan alone has 8 to 10 million people. We share like crazy. I come in from another state. I can't understand why people can continue to just share. I mean, yes, I'm not going to take anything away from anyone because what anybody does is beneficial for them. But, I mean, we have a protest maybe once a month, and I think that there's strength in numbers. Our group is all about the animals, and that's all it's about is the animals. The people that all the people that are in the Warriors, they're all very passionate people. We do for the animals what we can do. I do have true warriors in this group, and I think they're great. They're awesome. I love every one of them, and we all love each other. We all get along, and we all help each other out. You know, and that's a good thing that we are like that. But what I don't understand is why don't more people come out and help support? I mean, we are right in front of where all the animals are getting killed.
Yep.
You
know? And do you know what, Barbie, you're absolutely right. I've got to say to people again, you know, there is some groups that have got thousands in, and there's some groups that have got, say, a couple hundred, 300, right? But nobody needs to judge numbers, right? Numbers mean nothing in that sense.
They mean nothing.
Because you can have 10 people in a group that do everything, and you can have 10,000 people that do nothing.
Exactly. Absolutely correct.
And do you know what, Bob? I've got to say that, you know, of course, I did the odd show that we did about the NYC-ACC, and of course I was talking to Tabitha just the other day, and I was saying to her, look, you know, I've heard about the protest, and I'm thinking, why, you know, do you want me to expose this? You know, what do you want me to do? You know, and trying to do something. And as soon as I found your event, straight away I added all my friends, I shared it to all my groups, I shared it to my profile, and it probably took me 10 minutes. I ask everybody on that event, what excuse have you got today for not sharing that and not adding all your friends and just sparing 10 minutes? Even if you don't go to the protest, even if you don't make any posters, even if you can't do anything else, 10 minutes at the very most just to add all your friends and share it to your profile and share it to your groups. That isn't going to hurt you. Even if you are sitting in a wheelchair or you're sitting there depressed, or if whatever it is that you may be wrong, there is no excuse why you can't do that.
Well, you know, not even that. I mean, even if it's someone, I understand some people are homebound and they can't leave their homes, but even if they are homebound, there's research you can do. You can find out what is going on at the ACC. Why is this all going on in the ACC? Why do they have gag orders? Why do they not answer our questions? There are a lot of things that you can question and you can research and look up on the computer, things that you can make phone calls, write letters. If you're homebound and you can't leave your home, there are other things that you can do. If you can't make it, those are your other choices, you know, letters, phone calls, research, all of that. So there is always something that someone can do, and I don't want to keep you on the phone long because I know there are other warriors waiting to call in.
Hey, Barbara, listen to me. You take as long as you want because you've worked very hard, and you know, you've done an absolute fantastic job, and I want everybody to please just keep sharing and, you know, keep adding to the event. But just remind me, what's the name of the event? I've actually got, John, I've just shut the window down and I've got to reopen it.
It's the New York Warriors Rally against the ACC. It's a rally for reform of the ACC, and it's on September 21st, which is a Saturday between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m.
Okay.
And I want to thank you so much. Just the fact that I'm on here really touches my heart, and I'm sorry, but it's for the animals, and it's always been about the animals, and it will always be about the animals, Sue.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is the thing, it's about joining forces and being united. And again, just giving a voice to the voiceless, because
exactly.
I've just got to tell everybody, while we're doing this show tonight, there is dogs that in a few hours, and cats in a few hours, that are going to be killed for no reason except the fact that they were either handed in or they were found.
Homeless because they were homeless. So they're homeless, they've given a death sentence. That's why. And, and here's another thing. I have invited other groups to our events, and no response. I am not above inviting other people, joining in with other groups. This is one of the reasons why we started groups in other states. We do have groups in Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New York. We did have one in California, but we have few rough edges we have to smooth out over there. But the reason why I tried starting them in other states is so that we can all join together. And if we have representation in all of the states, maybe we can all join forces as one big group and then show maybe the people of the nation, the country, that, hey, we are the people and we are tired of the way you are treating our animals.
Exactly.
That's how I feel.
The thing is, at the end of the day, and I've got to quote people that have had a go at me in the sense of, oh, well, you're in the UK, keep your nose out and everything. Yeah, you're right, I'm in the UK, and I'm trying to share awareness of what's going on in your country. So at the end of the day, excuse me, why aren't you sharing it?
Yes, exactly. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're here.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if you're over there. We have supporters in Italy. We have people in Italy that support us. They, so, I mean, it's all over it's not only happening here. It happens everywhere. I just happen to think that here in New York is pretty bad. I mean, the comparison here, it's been capitalized on, the ACC, whatever goes on in there, and they just, there's no reason for it. Nobody wants to give us any answers. We ask questions, and they don't give us answers. And every time we ask the ACC questions, they push us off onto someone else, or I can't talk, or we have somebody that will answer those questions for you, but nobody gives you any answers. It's a smoke screen. There's a lot of smoke screening going on over there, too, So, listen, like I said, I want to give the other people a chance to talk, and I want to say thank you to you and what you're doing, and thank you for getting us out there in our name. And I just want to say I love all you guys out there.
Barbara, just remember, anytime you need anything as far as promoting the events or anything, give me a shout anytime you like, and you're welcome on the show anytime, okay? Thank you so much, Sue. You're going to make me cry. God bless you. Oh, and listen, if I do win the lottery between now and then, I'll stand by at the protest, okay?
I love you guys. Thank you. I love you, Warriors.
All right. Love you, too. Catch you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And that, of course, was Barbara Stewart, and I thank her very much for calling into the show tonight. Do you know what? I love people that are so passionate. And just let me say something. People will be listening and think, oh, listen to her crying. Let me just say to people, the thing with crying is it just shows that you've got a heart. That is not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of strength and somebody who's positive and who's trying to do their best. And I totally respect. So let's go to the next caller. And I'm sure they'll be just as passionate and just as crazy as me. Area code 508, welcome to the show.
Yes, hello, Sue. This is Carrie from Massachusetts. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
I love your English accent. Are you a pie and custard girl?
If you saw my muscle of my stomach, you'd say so.
Oh, it's a good thing. Definitely. I just want to thank you also for having us on the show, and I want to tell Barb she did an awesome job. I'm inspired now to continue on and speak out. My thing, I got involved with the Warriors when I ran into Barb accidentally on Facebook, and it seems like both Barb and the Warriors had the right idea. It was all about the animals.
Yeah.
And here I am. I've done my first protest, met my first real-life rapper, and now I'm doing my first radio show due to these people.
Absolutely. Do you know what? We never know what's around the corner, I tell you, especially in the ASKSUE. We never know what's going to be next. But I tell you, it's been brilliant working with all of the warriors this last week. Do you know what I mean? It's been absolutely fantastic. And it's good to have people that are passionate about what they do and all connecting and everything. It's been really, really good. Really good. So
yes.
Are you going to this? How far are you away from the protest then?
I'm about 3.5 hours away, depending upon the traffic. So it's not a bad drive.
Yeah. Oh, excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
So I take it you're going to the protest this time?
Absolutely, wouldn't miss it. I adopted
Excellent.
a cat from death row back in March when I first discovered it, and she's absolutely precious and adorable. Actually, I ended up adopting two. And from that experience and continuing, to look into it, I decided that I was going to dedicate myself to ending that. And
can I ask you,
sure.
seeing you're somebody that's actually adopted from there, were you able to go? How is the adoption process there? When you actually were able to do it, how easy did you find it? What sort of state were the cats in? Tell me about that.
I had a unique experience. The cat I adopted had a very severe URI. The picture of her was just terrible. You could tell she was just on death's door. And I called Angelical. They pulled her and immediately took her to a vet they use in Brooklyn. And I pledged her entire vet bill, whatever that might be. And 3 weeks later, after numerous times of me saying, where is my cat, how is she doing, numerous emails, I was able to pick her up. And she was still sick. And 48 hours later, I was at my own vet, having her treated again. So I had probably a very unique experience with it because I don't think the vet in Brooklyn did a very good job, and I'm not. And I don't say this in a bad way. I don't think Angelical thought I would really follow through with my pledge, and I did, every dime of it.
Yeah.
So I had a very unique experience in that way. I had no dealings whatsoever with the ACC. Now, I did once. I sent them an email, and I said, okay, I've heard all these rumors regarding you. I want to see what you're like. I want to come there. I want to see. Yeah. And I did go there, and I was given a very abbreviated tour by a very nice young lady who takes care of their public relations. But I wasn't able to really see a lot or find out, a lot of, in-depth information.
Okay. See, I can honestly say if I came over from the UK over to you and I was to come to the ACC, I'd insist on wanting to go and see. And I think this is the thing. It's all this behind closed doors and everything. And let's face it, if you put a big high fence up, everybody always wants to look over it.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what's happening here. If they just open the doors, even if they had an open day or, and let people see what's going on. And, there's loads of people that would be quite happy to volunteer. We could amazingly, I know that if those fences were actually taken down or we were able to look in and we were able to help, how much more we would be able to do and how many dogs and cats we'd be able to save. And this is what is upsetting for so many people. It's the fact that we've got so many people that are willing to help, but we just can't get to them.
And I absolutely agree with that. What could possibly, in your imagination, what could you even imagine could be so top secret at an animal shelter? It should be an open and inviting place so that they, and they're a nonprofit, so that they were getting more funding and they were getting more volunteers. And, that is a very perplexing aspect of their business. Absolutely.
Exactly. I've just got to say, my big black and white cat has just come and jumped straight on my lap as if to say, well, I'm being part of it. So you even got another warrior now.
You got another one?
Yeah, my cat is literally sat straight on me. He's just walked straight across the room and jumped straight on my lap.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of cats. I have 5. And I do. It's absolutely devastating to me. Sometimes I have to just stop looking. Last night they had 59 cats on death row. 59.
Good.
That was staggering. That was utterly staggering. And, you know, many of these animals. Go ahead.
Sorry, and do we know how many have actually survived? How many have actually been rescued?
No, I haven't looked through it today to find out yet. It's really, until about 24 hours pass, you can't really tell a lot.
Right.
So I haven't looked back through. But if you go to the death row pages every night and you read each cat's bio, many of those animals, cats and dogs, have only been there between 24 and 72 hours. They are diagnosed on the same day that they're put on death row. They're diagnosed and the vet starts them on an antibiotic. Why are you even bothering, you know, if you're going to kill them?
Yep.
You're not even following even close to a length of time for treatment. And, you know, let's face it, it's a cold. And those antibiotics do work. And, yes, I know some cats are difficult to give their medication. I have 5. There are ways of doing it. If you are trained, you know, you need properly trained people that are caring and compassionate, making sure that's done.
Exactly. Absolutely right. Well, you know, and this is the thing, I think it's, they're not knowing everything. I'm just reading the chat room as well, and Jill's just saying the adoption fees at shelter aren't high. The adoption fees are as follows. Dogs and puppies up to 6 months are $150, and 7 months to 6 years, $75. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, the thing is, but why are they not being, obviously, there is something that is stopping this from them being rehomed. And obviously, I'm in the UK, so I can't, I can share the links, of course, but it's no good me getting involved as far as rehoming them because that I can't do anything. Do you know what I mean? So I share and everything else, but as far as getting in, now, the thing, as far as I can see, when I do look at these things, and I must say that I think everybody will agree with me, there are certain ones that just touch the heart a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We all have our little favourite ones. You know, one that had just, you looked into their eyes and there was a glint of something you can't explain, and then the next day you read it, and they've been killed and whatever. And there was one that I remember, and I don't remember the name now, I'll be honest, but it was all dressed up and it got like a pink little scarf round and everything. And I looked at this and I was like, oh my goodness, they've killed her. And I'm like, and I looked down the links and I was like, hold a minute, I'm looking at down all these posts and all these people offering, there's all these people connecting, and it still died.
That's absolutely true. Just a couple of days ago.
And I just find that mind-boggling, and I think everybody will agree with me. I mean, I'm in the UK, so obviously I don't know. I have never seen the building. I don't know. But what I do see is the calculations and of all of these people that are trying to make a difference, and they're stopping. What exactly are they achieving by stopping these dogs and cats from being killed? Never mind, let's take the politics out of all this for a minute and everything else to do in Bloomberg. What exactly are they achieving by having these dogs and cats put down?
You know, that is the million-dollar question, because I've often asked that of myself and others, you know, what can they possibly gain from this? And I really have no idea. You know, I can't come up with anything in my wildest imagination that anyone has to gain from that happening. And you see this many times where the pledges are very high, there's rescues, and for whatever reason that dog or that cat, you know, they're killed anyway. So I really, you know, that's another one of those secret things that there's just no answer for, or either it isn't made public.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to say to everybody that just for the talking that I've been doing so far, I'm already thinking that we will be doing another show, obviously a follow-up show, but I want to get numbers of the places that I can call and the people that I can call, because I want to do phone calls live from the show where we can actually hear what these people are saying to me. Because the UK accent, and they suddenly think that it's gone international as well, and also for the fact that, you know, we've got to ask these questions. And I've got and I'm thinking to myself, you know, we need a day when everybody blocks up phone lines, when everybody works together and we all block the emails and we get in touch. It's got to go further than what it has so far, you know. And I've got to say, you know, it's like Laura's done a petition, we've done all these things. People need to sign these petitions. Don't just look at it, read it, and then share it. You need to sign it yourself. Don't think because you shared it, 10 people will sign it. every single signature makes a difference, even if you're in the UK or wherever you are.
You know, and I agree with that. You know, the more voices, the better. And that really, and I think that definitely applies internationally, especially to New York, because it's a very, you know, it's like going to the United Nations when you're walking the streets of New York. It is a very international city, and I think it should matter to them what the rest of the world thinks.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that. And I agree, you know, things have got to go, they've got to go further. They've got to reach the board of directors. They've got, you know, it's actually a perplexing situation because it seems like they just ignore us. They block us out, and you know, these are the people who vote and pay their salaries. You know, these people should have a huge say in what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm going to go to the next caller, but thank you so much for calling in, and big hugs from the UK. And hopefully if we win the lottery, I'll see you at the protest.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Yeah, Andrew, thanks for calling in. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Just so passionate, so easy to talk to, so, everything. But it's just so wrong looking at all this, isn't it? It's just absolutely disgusting. Anyway, if anybody else wants to call in, 347-327-9694. That's 347-327-9694. Please call in. I'll go to the next caller. I haven't got a number, so maybe from the UK. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, it didn't say unmuted, sorry.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I just found your show, and I wanted to talk about my dog really quick because the same thing happened, but I don't know if it was, if he was really sick or it was the medicine.
Okay. And is this in New York? Is it the ACC?
No, this is California.
Oh, right. Okay. And was this on the same sort of setup as the ACC, though?
Oh, I didn't hear about that. I'm sorry. I just read the description.
It's okay. But tell me anyway, while you're on the line, tell me about your story.
He was a Shih Tzu, and what happened was he started, sneezing a lot, and so we took him to the vet, and they gave him some medicine. And you know what? I threw all that stuff away, but I had never gave him that medicine before because when he's had colds, I don't know, he just got over it. But this one, he seemed like he was kind of really, sniffling, and then his boogers were coming out. So we took him, and they gave us this medicine, but the medicine made him, drowsy, and they had told us it would get him drowsy, but he got drowsy, and he never woke up.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this. I just barely found out.
Oh, my goodness. Well, listen, can you give me an email? My email address is asksueshow@gmail.com. Or you can ask me on Facebook, Ask Sue, and then a space, and then radio show. You can add me on Facebook as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks very much for calling in.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. And I've got to say to everybody, at the end of the day, we do need to remember that it isn't just New York that has got these issues. We have got this literally all over America with different situations going on. Next caller, area code 914. Hi, welcome to the show. Hello?
Oh.
Hello?
Sue?
Hello, how you doing, love?
It's Joanne.
How you doing?
I'm okay. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm sure
good.
you've got plenty to say, so I'll let you have a little
Yes, we do. First, I need to say, go Warriors. We're going to do this on September 21st. Don't forget. And we would love to have you, Sue. I've been listening to some of the topics that have been going on with the adopting why is the city getting away with adopting such sick dogs? That's one issue. And the rescues should really address this to the ACC because they have to pay vet bills that are astronomical, and even the public adoptions. I saw last week that 2 public adoptions brought back the dogs the next day because they were too sick. You know, and you know, you're adopting a dog, but you don't expect to have to pay thousands of dollars to bring them back to healthy, you know, animals.
Yeah.
And the city should take more responsibility with that. And also Miller, what happened with Miller? You know, we need answers. We're never going to get them, but why should a dog? I mean, he wasn't the healthiest of dogs, but there was no indication of him being terminally ill, you know, that he dies in his cage and 3 to 4 hours later they say, why isn't Miller eating, you know? I mean, come on.
Exactly.
And then also the treatments. By law, they have to provide medical care, vaccinations, drugs, and that's why a lot of people do see that the vets say continue treatment, and the dog is put on the list, you know, that night, but they have to do that by law, which is kind of ridiculous. And then also, excuse me, had a hairball. They do. I've heard that they do get money. I don't know how much money, but it's more feasible for the city to destroy the animal opposed to help it. You know, feed them, pay for hourly workers, and you know that whole scenario. So it's a bunch of things, and also good news out of all this. Bill de Blasio is ahead of Christine Quinn. Hope he could stay this way because he has advocated a lot for the animals, the carriage horses, and also the ACC, which would be a wonderful thing. And I think New York should really heed that call with him. Yeah. Because if Christine Quinn gets in, that's not going to be a good thing for the ACC. And and there's a lot that just goes on, and it's all political BS is really what it is. And they get away with it because it's run by the city, it's overseen by the Board of Health, breaking all health codes possible. And like I said, if it was you or I that had this rescue or even a grooming shop, we would be shut down because the filth, the holes in the walls, inoculation records, and you know everything. It's just very sad what goes on, and we as the warriors, we don't ask for donations, we don't ask for money from people. We're doing this. They're hitting the streets, giving out flyers, educating New Yorkers that there are 3 kill shelters in New York City, and so many New Yorkers do not know this. They don't know. I had a grooming shop, and a lot of my customers, you know, I would tell them about the ACC. They said, the ASPCA? I said, no, the ACC, totally different. It's animal care and control. And you know, I would tell them. And they're so unaware of it, so unaware. So the flyers will be, you know, helping a lot. And also, you know, just the voices out in the streets. And you know, it's time, New York, to wake up. We got to do this. We got to, and we have to do it together. You know, a handful of people aren't going to make a difference. They need numbers. They need voices. You know, how many dogs is going to take to kill before something is done? We got to get up off of the keyboards and onto the streets. You know, we appreciate, you know, the sharing and everything we do, but it's not working. It's not working. And they're killing more and more. They're up to, what, 15, 16 dogs? That's only the dogs. I can't even imagine the cats. I can't even imagine.
Well, somebody had messaged me to say that the other night they'd done like 59, 60 in one night of cats.
Oh, my God. Well, that was...
Can I ask you, Joe? I've done other things, you know, well, as far as exposure things. And the one thing that we found out, there are a lot of cats and dogs were being killed and actually being rendered, and they were actually being paid for the rendering.
Yes, yes.
Could
and
this
don't
actually
forget,
be the case there as well?
You need by law a certain license. I think it's a C license, and that gives them like pet stores, independent pet stores, other places that sell like rodents and dogs and cats. That gives them the right to sell to rendering companies, labs, you know, research. And that's the other thing also is the, you know, we could talk about the research and everything. And like I said, again, it's run by the city. It's overseen by the Board of Health. They are breaking rules and health codes. So what makes us not think that they are doing the wrong thing also? And where and who are giving them money for each, you know, body that they give? And it's cheaper to kill the animal. It will save them money. They will make money and save money instead of keeping them, you know, getting them well and keeping up with them. Then again, you have to question if, say, the agriculture department comes down, which are supposed to supervise all the shelters in New York, and if they come down and say they close the ACC down, they tell them to clean up their act, and then what? They can't euthanize healthy dogs. You know, there are two reasons they could euthanize, and that's a sickness, which is the kennel cough, which is a bunch of BS, and also aggression, when they don't do well on the eval, and they get an NH, that they deem them aggressive. So that gives them just cause to euthanize. But again, the kennel cough is nothing, and a lot of dogs do get upper respiratories and pneumonia and canine influenza and also parvo. And again, you got to question the sloppiness of the workers. They throw them in infected cages. They don't change the waters. You know, they lie in their poo, you know, for hours. Look, Miller, dead for hours. I mean, why isn't this dog eating? Hello? You know, and it's just sad. And that's only to name a few, because there was a couple of months ago, I can't remember the dogs' names, but there was like two within a week. One dog with a perforated rectum bled to death in the cage. And that you got to question, because where is the medical on that? You know, and if the dog was, you know, that bad, I mean, you know, what kind of vets are you employing here? I mean, they're probably rejects from the vet world, because no vet in their right mind would ever work like for this.
See, Joe, the other thing is, I mean, I've got to say to people that have just fallen upon the show and are listening in, we are talking about the NYC-ACC, and I've just got to say to you, Joe, you know, a lot of people will be listening to the show that have not heard about this before and are saying, well, hold a minute, who is it that's supposed to be, you know, an investigator? Or in the UK, we've got the RSPCA, and obviously you guys have got the SPCA and that. Who is it that's supposed to go around and actually check these shelters and these different places? Who's actually above all of them that says, no, hold on a minute, this is not good enough? Do you mean, who is it?
The New York State Agriculture Department oversees all the shelters, and they do the inspections. But you're talking about how many shelters and how many inspectors, and what do they come, once every 3 years, if that? You know, and they call and they say, well, we'll be here at such and such a time on such and such a date. Hello, you know. And that brings us maybe about 2 years ago, when Julie Bank was the director. Thomas Hurley, who's the CEO of the Board of Health, he oversees everything with the shelter. He was making a visit, So what does Julie Bank do? Tells the employees to work 24 hours overnight to clean up the place and also ship like 50 dogs to Brooklyn. So that's what they did, and Hurley came in, and he was only given a tour to certain parts also. So again, it goes to show you how corrupt it is, because I mean, if you're inspecting, and this is you're in charge of this, aren't you going to want to see this section, that section? I would want to see the whole thing. But again, it's corrupt. It's really corrupt. But back to the Agriculture Department. Now, I've heard also that you have a better shot of getting in touch with the Attorney General, the New York State Attorney General, on this. So that might be another venue to look into.
See, what I'm actually thinking, Joanne, and I know the New York Warriors won't mind helping me with this, is the fact that I'm wanting all of the numbers to these, I'm going to say people, okay, but that isn't really what I want to say. I'm going to be polite tonight's show. Everything's got to be professional, so I'm just going to say people. But I want to ring all of these people and all of these people associated with the NYCACC, and I want to ask them on the show exactly what the score is. I'm going to say to them, right, I'm from the UK. I want to know exactly what your job is. And at the end of the day, the stories that I've heard and the accusations that I've heard is not acceptable. And I want somebody to go in there and confirm to me that this is actually the case and that this place is actually okay. And I want to see pictures and everything, because at the end of the day, and I've got to say to those people that have just fallen upon the show that didn't know anything about this, you guys, the taxpayers, are actually paying for this.
That's it. That's exactly right. And people need to see this and start saying something. This is where you want your tax dollars, killing these animals? I mean, it's just a shame. It's just a shame. And the city should really step down from the position. And also there are plenty of volunteers that have more knowledge about animal care than what this board has. They know nothing on animals. Riza Weinstock, she's a lawyer, and that's going to be another detour down the road, because now the shelter has a lawyer representing them. But she has no animal knowledge. She probably doesn't even have an animal. So it's experience. None of the people on the board are experienced with animal. There might be one that had somewhat of a connection with an animal, something somewhere down the line. I think I read. But it's not good. It's really not good. And before the Board of Health had it, it was the Parks and Recreation, which probably have more knowledge of wildlife or something, opposed to the Board of Health. The whole thing just needs, and that's the other thing, Sue. People are saying backyard breeders, neutering and spaying and everything. Yes, that's something, but we need to focus on the ACC, because it's two separate things, and the ACC does not do the right thing. Even when they do adoptions, they don't check references, they don't check landlords, and how many dogs are returned from the ACC?
Do you know what, though, and I've said this to quite a few, Joanna, I can sort of agree to disagree with you on that. If we'd have actually got a spay and neuter program in, right, and I'll extend this little rant, okay, if we've got a spay and neuter program in every single country, in every single part of the whole world, we wouldn't have the ACC so full as it is, and we wouldn't have such a bigger problem.
You're absolutely right.
Everybody complains about the ACC. We complain about all these people, okay, and all these different rescues and all this rubbish that goes around it. But at the end of the day, there is one group of people that could actually change every single thing that all of us animal advocates actually are fighting for.
Right. And again, though, But
if we actually got the government to change these laws
exactly.
and actually said, right, you have to get spayed and neutered, you have to have certain regulations on shelters and everything. If you rehome from a shelter, you have to get them spayed and neutered. Otherwise, you're going to have another 6 ones that have got to go back in the shelter system because that owner went and rehomed them to 6 idiots that didn't know how to look after them. And
exactly.
here we are again. It's just a vicious circle. Okay, we've got 60 cats that were killed in one night. Let's be realistic. In, say, 2 years' time, that could easily be 300, 400 if all of these cats and all these dogs are going to be breeding, and we're going to be tripling it and doubling it and everything else
yes.
100 times over because we haven't got the spay and neuter part in.
Now, the thing is, like I said, we're concentrating on the ACC. But the breeding and the spaying and neutering and the trap and release programs, that should be more of each state's policies, and it's up to the state to do that. Now, the ACC has programs for, again, spaying and neutering, and also they are supposed to ask, is there anything, when they surrender an animal, is there any kind of financial needs or anything that they could offer? And that's one thing. And also they're supposed to tell the people that are bringing the animals in that it's a kill shelter. I don't know if they do it to everybody that walks in that door. I doubt it because they're always rushed, in a hurry, in a frenzy. And again, it's just the way it's run and their procedures and the policies, it's not good.
Yes.
It's just not good. And again, like you said, it is a vicious circle. And but where do you start? I mean, you have to question the ACC with the people that come through those doors. Now, it's funny that every dog, 99.9% of them are strays, which could be a good thing because that gives the dog 3 days. And the sad part is within that 3 days, they catch kennel cough. But if they were to give as just surrender their dog, they could be euthanized as soon as they walked in the door, in the back door. They could be euthanized. But the ACC has a heart, and they usually do give them a week, I would say, or until they get sick. But it is a vicious cycle, and where do you begin? It's just it's crazy.
Has anybody actually done facts and figures, and have we got actually facts and figures for how many, I'm going to say 1,000, are killed at the ACC every year? Have we actually got facts, figures?
Well, I'll tell you. Urgent has, she's on Gone But Not Forgotten, number 85, so you times that by 200. And she started that 3 years ago.
Okay.
So it took 3 years, 85, I'm not good at math. 85 times 200, and that's within 3 years. So we could imagine what the whole thing is.
Yeah. I just think that, me personally, I'm sitting, and it's quite good for me to be in the UK sometimes because I can sit on the garden fence and look from the outside. And with me, I'm wanting to look deeper. I want to know facts, figures, but I want to, I'm going to actually get in touch with them, and I'm going to ask them for a copy of their policies because I'm intrigued to know what sort of policies could possibly run that place.
Yeah.
Really. And who put those policies together? Who's controlling them policies? Who's actually making sure that those policies are actually in place? Do you know what I mean? And with policies, you have to have them updated every single year. Or it's no good updating a policy that you're not adhering to in the first place.
Yeah.
So, and I've got to say, I will be doing another show where I'm actually calling these people directly, literally from the show, because then it'll be recorded. And I will tell them that they are on the show and everything. And I do expect them to put the phone down. But let me just say to everybody, when people put the phone down to me, that just means that you've got something to hide. And that's right. where I'll just step it up a gear again. And I will get all of you just to start writing letters to certain places and everything. And this is where people can do things. And it's a case of, if you can't go to the protest, you can share the links. You can add people to the events and everything. But also, it also means that you can ring, you can write and everything. We'll block the phone lines one day, and before everybody jumps on me, I don't mean where we're rescuing from. I mean other phone lines to their offices. I don't mean where these dogs and cats are being rescued from. I don't want to put any, in a position where we can't rescue them because the phone lines are hot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've got to say to everybody, we've just got to draw the line somewhere, John. We've got to up this gear. It's okay saying we need to save this dog tonight because it's on the endangered list. Yes, but the trouble is we save that one tonight, and we've still got the other 2 that are going to fill this space in tomorrow night, and we've got the other 10 that are going to fill in next week.
Yep.
Somewhere we've got to say, okay, we've got to still share these dogs and everything, but we've got to step it up again and stop this from happening every week.
Right. And that's the thing, too, urgent part 2. She has a plea, and I've been posting it, that now, especially July and August, we all know about August, and even half of September, it's like a dead season. Everybody's away, fosters are gone, rescues are overwhelmed, the intakes are so high, and again, the killings are very high. And they are, the shelter, they can't refuse any kind of animal that walks through there. Maybe a giraffe, they can't refuse it. And that's the other thing. And one more thing, Sue, when I mentioned if they ever cleaned up their act and sanitized that whole place down and closed it and reopened, that would force them to build the 2 shelters that are needed in each borough. I mean, Queens and the Bronx alone, how many hundreds of thousands of people live there, And, again, the animals.
Exactly. It's a shame that we can't also, and this maybe sounds a bit daft, but we need to promote as well the other rescues that are surrounding, so that people that literally are on Facebook that have got a dog in New York, instead of taking it to the ACC, we give them another avenue.
Yes. Yes. Urgent actually has a number also posted with that. Maybe somebody could, Tabby, if you're listening, could you get that number? And the name. And again, she's asking for donations, donations for money to do this with the group that she's with. I forgot the name of it, but again, with the dogs being sick, and also for kennel, and that's the other thing too. Is that the right thing to do? Is take a dog, save a life, and put him in a kennel? I mean, a lot of dogs don't do well in kennels.
Exactly.
It's just crazy, and maybe we should try getting at the protest. Maybe we can get like a roster for fosters. We could have people sign up and see, if they could do long-term, short-term, anything helps.
Maybe it's like market research is what we're missing, isn't it? It's like we're filling these links up with all these different people say, I can. We almost need it where we've got it more organized so that we've got a foster group. Okay, and every time we need a fosterer, we say, right, here's a dog who can foster. But it's just foster people in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is also, you could foster, but we have to go to adoption days. We have to be more involved in that way too, because the dog could be in foster and kennel for how many years? And then the dog adapts to the kennel life, and that's not good either. Because they're not socialized, and unless the kennels like upstate and up in New Hampshire and everything, they're nice kennels, opposed to, the city kennel, and that's another thing that's needed too. A lot of rescues that pull the dog with the kennel cough, a lot of fosters have other animals, and they can't, they need isolation. So, an isolation kennel would be ideal, for the rescues. Because that's another issue. There's not many isolation places. Even at the vet's office, they don't have isolation places.
Exactly.
And vets don't want an infected animal there. So again, it's just a cycle.
Another vicious circle.
Yeah, it really is.
Definitely.
It really is. And
well,
again, it's just sad that, you know, these great adoptable dogs, you know, animals are dying. They're just dying. And then the cages that they have the cats in, it's like a trap cage. You know, they have no room. There's nothing.
Yeah.
You know, there's you know, they can't even turn around. I mean, it's ridiculous. And also, the ACC did stop getting cats on the streets. They like closed their eyes. They were told to do that. So, you know, with the intake. And also, they do kill a lot of kittens there because it takes away from the older cats. So, you know.
See, this is the thing. If they're saying they're going to shut their eyes, and I'm going back to spay and neuter part, if they're shutting their eyes and these cats are wandering on the streets, then we've got a bigger issue coming up very shortly, because that one kitten has grown up into a big cat. The other tomcats just got with them, and here we've got another load of kittens that are coming up.
That's right.
And this is, it's like I say, the spay and neuter is a big problem as well.
That's right. And why can't the ACC, you know, is the same thing that they have for courses for fostering and volunteering, why can't they have trap and release programs to train people to trap and release? You know, and
exactly.
I mean, is that a right thing to do? I mean, I would think so, because the animals that are brought into the ACC have a better chance on the streets. I mean, really.
Exactly.
You know, they come in healthy and they end up sick. It's just not fair. It's not fair. It's not right, and the whole thing is just sad.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, we need people in the streets. We
do.
It does make a difference. It makes a hell of a difference, because, again, any time protests are there, a handful does not matter. We need hundreds. We need to, you know, close down the street, the streets. We have to be there. Have to.
Yeah.
And New Yorkers need to really come together. And if people want to come from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, let's get buses. You know, carpool. You know, just ask.
Exactly.
And let's see what we could do.
Yeah.
You know, we could arrange it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling in.
My pleasure.
And thank you so much. Big hugs from the UK. And again, keep in touch, and we'll have another show very soon.
All right, honey. And hugs back from Yonkers. We love you, too. And thank you so much for everything you do.
Cheers, love. Big thumbs up. Catch you soon.
All right, so take care.
Ciao, love.